Welcome into your series all about Chiron. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at what Chiron is, what happens if it goes unhealed, and how you can start healing this. So, what is Chiron? In astrology, Chiron is known as the wounded healer. It's an asteroid that orbits between Saturn and Uranus and represents a unique blend of both pain and healing. Chiron in astrology isn't a typical planet. It's often even overlooked, but its influence is significant because of the symbolic role that it plays in your chart. Chiron represents wounding and healing. Its position in your birth chart shows where you might experience deep emotional and psychological wounds, often from childhood, early life experiences, or deep-seated patterns that could feel difficult to overcome, sometimes even unacknowledged because it's very subconscious. However, Chiron is also the healer because it represents where once you work through your pain, you can ultimately gain wisdom, strength, and healing power. People with a prominent Chiron placement often become healers, teachers, or individuals who offer insight and support to others through their own healing journeys. It represents the hero's journey. Its mythological backstory adds a lot of depth to its astrological meaning. In Greek mythology, Chiron was a centaur who was a wise healer and teacher, but he himself was wounded in a way that couldn't be healed. He became a symbol of the wise mentor who helps others, even though he couldn't completely heal himself. This aspect of the wounded healer is a core theme for Chiron in astrology. Its placement in your birth chart is very significant. So the house in which Chiron resides in your natal chart shows the area of life where you may feel wounded, but also where you have potential for profound healing and growth. As an example, if you have Chiron, let's say in the 7th house, this could indicate wounding around relationships, but also the potential for healing through partnerships. The sign that Chiron is in shows the way in which wounding might manifest. So for example, if you have a Chiron in Aries, this might point to wounds related to self-identity, independence, or assertion, while Chiron in Virgo could indicate issues around perfectionism, health, or even service to others. How Chiron interacts with other planets in your chart shows how the healing process might unfold for you. If Chiron is in a challenging aspect like a square or opposition to another planet, this can indicate where you're likely to encounter difficulty, but also where growth is possible for you. Very important to pay attention to. Chiron often indicates where an individual might feel a deep sense of inadequacy or suffering, but by embracing the healing process, they're given the ability to help others in similar situations. It's a reminder that personal pain can lead to wisdom and empathy. In turn, this can benefit those around you, those that you come in contact with. Overall, Chiron in astrology invites us to look at our vulnerabilities and to heal them so we can become stronger and help others who might be on a similar path. It teaches that healing isn't a matter of eliminating wounds, but learning to live with them and transform them into sources of strength and compassion. It's really embracing your shadow. Let's look at what it means if Chiron goes unhealed. It doesn't disappear. It actually leaks into our lives in subtle or not so subtle ways. Here's what it can look like, though. It can look like repeating painful patterns. You may find yourself attracting similar wounds over and over, relationships that trigger abandonment, situations that challenge your self-worth, or environments that echo childhood pain. The wound becomes a loop until it's acknowledged. Unhealed Chiron can lead to projection of your wounds onto others, blaming partners, parents, society, without realizing the root that lives within. It can block personal growth and healthy relationships. This is why it is so important, because our relationships show us so much about ourselves. You might build walls or wear masks to avoid being seen in your pain. This fear can lead to emotional isolation, especially in intimate connections. Again, these connections being so important. The unhealed wound whispers things like, "You're not good enough," "Don't try, you'll fail," or "You don't deserve love." These are all the consequences of dealing with an unhealed Chiron. So let's focus on how we can heal this. Healing Chiron in your chart is a deep and often lifelong journey, but it can lead to profound self-awareness and transformation. This is how you can begin to heal this based on your placement. The first step is recognizing the area where you feel pain or insecurity. This could be around self-worth, love, rejection, your identity, or anything else, depending on the sign and the house. In the next episodes, we'll talk about each Chiron placement. As an example, Chiron and Leo could feel unworthy of being seen or celebrated. The wound is around attention, creativity, and validation. The main thing here is to stop avoiding it. Chiron wounds often create defense mechanism like people-pleasing, perfectionism, even emotional walls. Healing comes when you stop avoiding the discomfort and gently lean into it, having compassion for yourself. Inner child work is paramount here. Many Chiron wounds are rooted in childhood experiences. Working with your inner child through journaling, visualization, meditation, or therapy can be transformative. My personal preference is inner child meditations, hypnosis even, very beneficial. Reframe the story that you're telling yourself. If you replace limiting beliefs tied to your Chiron wound with a new and empowered perspectives, this can help reframe this storyline that you're telling yourself. For instance, "I'm not lovable" can transform into "I'm worthy of love just as I am." Serve through the wound. This is powerful because once you've worked with your pain, you can help others through similar experiences. Chiron becomes a gift where you use your experience to guide and support someone else. It's important to practice radical self-compassion in this process. Chiron asks you to stop trying to so-called fix yourself and instead love yourself in the wound. Again, it's like embracing the shadow. You don't need to be fully healed to be whole. In the next episodes, we'll go through each zodiac sign placement in Chiron. Hopefully you can identify some things that you haven't seen before, some things that you can pinpoint as far as your own healing in Chiron. So with that being said, my friends, we'll see you in the next episode.